the hairs of my body will continually stand on end. So these are all symptoms of what is called Asta Sattvic Vikar. Is the sound okay? Just want to make sure. Okay. It is called Asta Sattvic Vikar. So in the nature of how prem works, when prem or love, rati is another synonym for prem, when that love becomes mixed with other elements, it turns into prem rasa. The word rasa, R-A-S-A, and in Sanskrit language, if you see it written in Devanagari, the A is small. I'm not doing a whole Sanskrit lesson here, but the A is small. So rasa here means when there is a mixture of ingredients. Here, the mixture of the ingredients is the basic love that the devotee has towards Krishna. That mixes with what is called a vibhav. Vibhav means a speciality about that love that creates the dynamic of an object of the love, the subject of the love, right? So that is called asraya and vishaya. Asraya means the subject of the love, and vishaya means the object. So for instance, for the devotee, Krishna is the vishaya, the object of their love. The devotee themselves, they're the shelter or asraya or repository of a particular kind of love towards Krishna. So this is called alamban. I'm using all the terms so that gradually devotees build up the vocabulary of associating the concepts with what's written in the Sastra, right? So I'm explaining each thing as we go along. So alamban means the vishaya and the asraya, the object and the subject of love. And then there's udipan. Udipan means those things which stimulate love. So I've given the example before that in the material world, for instance, the birthday, Valentine's Day, any holiday, an anniversary, these things, they stimulate a already existing love between a lover and a beloved. So udipan means those things which stimulate love. They are called as a category vibhav. Think visesh or special kind of bhav that is built on top of my basic feeling of love that I have for someone. Then there's what is called anubhavs. Anubhavs are the feelings that follow in the wake of how we love someone. So here, Caitanya Mahaprabhu is expressing, when will the time come when, based on the love that I have for Krishna, while chanting his name, anubhavs will come. So the things I've mentioned here, they are anubhavs. Profuse tears from the eyes, the hair standing on end, change of bodily color, becoming stunned, the choking of the voice, all of these are symptoms of anubhavs. Anubhavs are of two types. One is called udbhaswara. Udbhaswara. Udbhaswara means when there's a reaction to a particular stimulus and the intelligence is applied to that response. In other words, if you will get very good news and you express your happiness by a smile. So there's some natural physiological response, but also your intelligence is being applied. Oh, this is great news, and you smile. So smiling, dancing, clapping of the hands, these things all come under the category of udbhaswara anubhavs, expressions of reactions to a particular stimulus from a certain event and expressing your happiness or sadness towards that event, but when the intelligence is applied. Then there are what are called sattvic vikars. Sattvic vikar means transformations in the body, or sattvic anubhavs, transformations in the body that go beyond the application of your intelligence, and they act swabhavically, means naturally. So these would be events like if you go to someone's wedding, and at the wedding, due to the emotional height of seeing the two people get married, you become overwhelmed in happiness and begin to shed tears. You've not planned to shed tears. You didn't express it out of intelligence. It arose naturally. Similarly, if you get very sad news and you become overwhelmed with sadness or with shock, due to the passing of someone or any of those things, and you faint, or you have other symptoms that are described here when you're talking about ecstatic symptoms, they are called sattvika vikar or sattvik anubhavs. Remember the word anubhavs. The word anu means to follow. Bhav means a feeling. So a feeling that follows an event. And when you have a relationship of love with somebody, the feelings that follow that love due to a stimulus, they're called anubhavs. So I'll give another example. This is not a great example. If you're very much in love with someone, and somehow or another the love ceases to be mutual and that person decides to break up. When you sit down and eat ice cream and listen to Sade records, this isn't anubhav in the material world. You understand? This is an anubhav in the material world. You understand? So it's feelings that were stimulated by the affection or love you had for someone, and you naturally, it's not by intelligence, it's the overwhelming emotion manifesting itself in the body. You understand? This will not go into the book, by the way. It's references. Okay. So this is called, and my wife is here saying, why not? Anyway, so these are called sattvik vikar or sattvik anubhavs. And then there are vyabhichari bhavs or sanchari bhavs. Sanchari bhavs are 33 in number. In this particular verse, like in other verses, Mahaprabhu is expressing a sanchari bhav. So in the very first verse, right, Chaito Darpana Madjanam, Mahaprabhu expressed what is called, what is it? Oh, Utkanta. Utkanta means Harsha and Utkant. Harsha means like happiness, and Utkanta means eagerness. So upon realizing the glory of Sri Nam, Mahaprabhu expressed both jubilation, Harsha, and Utkanta, eagerness. When Mahaprabhu, after glorifying in the very first verse, Sri Nam, but then in the second verse realizing, oh Shri Krishna, Nam Namakri Bahudan Nija Sarva Shaktis, you've put all of your love, affection, potencies, leelas, everything in your names. But Durdavam, Idrisam, Ihajani, Na Anurag. But I've unable to develop attachment for them. And therefore Mahaprabhu became overwhelmed by what is called Vishad. It means disappointment or sadness. And by dainya, humility. Because he was thinking, I'm not fit, I'm not qualified. Though you're so merciful that you put everything in your name, I am too unqualified to have anurag or deep love for him. Therefore, disparagement, sadness, and humility arose in the heart of Sriman Mahaprabhu. In the third verse, that dainya bhava, humility, became prominent. And Mahaprabhu spoke the verse, Trenadapi sunichena toror api eva sahishnuna. Therefore, I'm feeling I should become lower even than grass. And then when Mahaprabhu was feeling like that, the love that he has for Bhagavan also grew. Because remember, I'm speaking about Mahaprabhu. I've always given two different explanations. One from the point of view of Mahaprabhu as the example of a devotee, a practitioner, a sadhaka, and one from Mahaprabhu's mood as being absorbed in the moods of Radhika. So I've given both things. So here I'm speaking about Mahaprabhu in the mood of a devotee, a practitioner. So Mahaprabhu now is feeling, because of this upsurge of humility, an increase in the love for Krishna. And therefore he expresses the verse, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kame. I don't want anything else in this world. I don't want wealth, followers, or any kind of beautiful connection, male to female or male to male. I also, Mamma Janmani, Jamanisre, Bhavatat Bhakti Hoitiki Twai. I don't even want liberation. All I want is the Ahoitiki Bhakti, pure love, only for you, for your pleasure. So now the humility becomes even deeper. And as the humility becomes deeper, the love rises. I'm going to explain, after I explain these things here, 4 kinds of what is called paraspara, means mutually nourishing factors about love. So now, Mahaprabhu then says, Ai Nandata Nuja Kinkaram. So now the word Kinkaram literally means King Karomi. Kim means what? And Karomi means can I do? So Mahaprabhu was in the state, I've given up everything of self-interest. Only want to have your happiness as my single goal. So please tell me, how can I become Kinkarom? Kinkaromi or Kinkar? Kinkar also means to do. And then Mahaprabhu now in this 6th verse is saying, to be the most ideal Kinkar, I want that kind of love which produces these symptoms. So I mentioned last week, Mahaprabhu is not praying to have the ecstatic symptoms for his own enjoyment. In other words, the devotee is not praying, let tears flow from my eyes, let my voice become choked, let my hairs and my body stand on end in ecstasy because then I'll be happy. The prayer is that I want the kind of love that automatically produces these symptoms. But my goal is that your happiness, because it's mentioned that the highest mood of love expressed for Krishna is Anya Abhilash Sunya. It has no self-interest whatsoever. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramanoni matsaranam satam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, any kind of dharma means any kind of spiritual existence or teaching that has in it any self-interest, that should be uprooted and kicked out. And paramoni matsaranam satam, pure, selfless, unconditional mood should be there. Paramoni matsaranam. Paramo means the highest kind of love. Nimatsarya means free from any self-interest. But isn't it, Mukunda, automatic that when you're in the spiritual world, you're going to experience the greatest kind of happiness? That happiness becomes secondary to the happiness of the object of your love. You understand? Just like if any two people, of course, in the material world, there's not, again, real love, so to speak. But if anyone has the emotion of love towards another person, can you be happy if that person is unhappy? Everything may be going super well for you. But if that person is ill, sick, somehow or another going through any kind of distress, can you be really happy? You cannot. So the object of your love, their feeling is actually more prominent than yours. And even in the reflection in this world, there's some semblance of that. In the spiritual world, the pure reality of that takes place. So for instance, the gopis, even when they manifest complete selflessness, like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned there, Atma Sukhe Dukhe Gopiyom Na Karele Vichar. So Atma Sukha Dukh means your own happiness or distress. Atma Sukhe Dukhe Gopiyom, the gopis, they consider Na Karele Vichar. Na means not. Vichar means take consideration. They don't do any consideration of their own happiness or distress. What do? Only what will make Krishna happy. You understand? They never take account. So they're not worried, how will my ecstasy come about? They're only worried, how will Krishna become anukulyena Krishnanusilanam? How will Krishna become happy? But to have the best position to make Krishna happy, I want that kind of love, which I'm describing then secondarily, that produces these kind of symptoms. Does everybody get the idea? They're praying for the love, not the enjoyment of the symptoms. In the material world, it's the opposite. We approach love for the enjoyment that comes to us from the love. You understand? Nobody declares a relationship of love with somebody else. They declare, how will I enjoy this person's association? You understand? So here's the exact opposite. Real love is void of self-interest and is full of interest in the ideal of what will make the beloved happy. So that's what's being expressed here. Then Mahaprabhu goes on to describe that, like in Srimad Bhagavatam, the pinnacle of the gopis' love in this mood was manifest in the chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is called Gopi Geet. So in the Gopi Geet, when Radha and Krishna have met in order to dance Ras Lila, at some point, Krishna, seeing that Srimati Radhika is unhappy with the arrangement, he disappears from the Ras Lila. At that time, all of the gopis become merged in an ocean of pain of separation. They then begin to search for Krishna in order to again serve him. But Krishna is himself hiding, and he's observing the nature of the mood of the gopis in their search for him. Now, Krishna, when he disappeared from the Ras Lila, he disappeared in order to accommodate Radhika's love. So now the question may be, well, why did Radhika leave in the first place if Krishna was enjoying the Ras Lila? It is because the nature of Radhika's love is so overwhelmingly pleasing to Krishna that when Radhika sees that Krishna is tasting something inferior in terms of the quality of love, Radhika becomes distressed because she sees Krishna. I'm giving an example to make it more clear. If you see that a very dear loved one of yours, due to economic reasons or something else, health reasons, they cannot enjoy very high quality of prasad, right? Due to economics or whatever, they may be eating some very simple prasad. Oh, only I can have khichdi, and also I can't afford salt, etc., etc. You understand? So even though you may have many people volunteering to bring the unsalted khichdi and a few boiled vegetables, in your heart there's so much pain because you want to make kachoris, halava samosas, some different things. You understand? That's your desire to serve them. So this is a gross example how Radhika feels when all of the billions of gopis, Satakoti, Gopi, Madhavaman, billions of gopis were there dancing with Krishna, but none of them could please Krishna like Srimati Radharani could please Krishna. And therefore Srimati Radharani left, knowing to some degree that Krishna would follow. So when Krishna left the rasa dance to be with Radhika, to follow Radhika, at that time all the gopis began to search for Krishna. At one point in the gopis' travels, they came across the footprints of Radhika and Krishna. And at that time, it came in their hearts, what is the glory of the love that Krishna has for this particular gopi? Anya irarito nunam bhagavan hari ishvara. Her love is such a high-class love that he gave up billions of gopis to go and be with this one gopi alone. You understand? I'm not making any mundane comparison in the material world, but any, and this is maybe for older gentlemen on the line, when you had your little black book back in the day, but you met the person that you're with now, and you took your little black book and you tossed it into the ocean or the lake or into the fire. You understand? So they realized, what is the quality of Srimati Radharani? Krishna's left his little black book behind in order to be with Radharani exclusively. You understand? So they glorified her. Anyai Rarito Nunam Bhagavan Hariswara. She is the most adept, the most glorious in how she loves Krishna. So later on, Krishna was with Radharani, and Radharani then began to feel, yes, how glorious is my love for Krishna. He's given up the company of billions of gopis to be with me. So then Krishna told Radharani, listen, we are traveling through the various forests of Vrindavan, and it is very beautiful. We should continue to go one forest to another. This is called Van Bihar. It means enjoying the different forests in Vrindavan. So Radhika at that time, becoming overwhelmed by the natural pride of her love, not pride like in the material world, the pride born from her love, which is pleasing to Krishna. She told Krishna, I cannot walk anymore. So I'm going to give, it's like she's saying, I'll give you the benediction to have closer relationship with me. You can carry me. So Krishna told, oh, okay, no problem. Then you should climb onto my back and I will carry you. Radhika at that same moment became overwhelmed by lajja, means shyness. And as soon as she became overwhelmed by shyness, she closed her eyes in order to climb onto the back of Krishna. But as soon as she closed her eyes and lost sight of Krishna, she entered into what is called Prem Vaichitya. Prem Vaichitya means even though she was in the presence of Krishna, not seeing him even for that flash of a second, she thought Krishna had disappeared. So Krishna was standing right next to her, but she began to call out, Kwasi Kwasi Mahabhuja. Oh my Lord, of beautiful arms, where are you? You understand? Hey Nataramana Presta, Kwasi Kwasi Mahabhuja. So Krishna's looking, I'm right here, but still Radhika's calling out in separation. So then Krishna hid in the bushes to absorb and observe the depth of this kind of love. So at that time, Radhika was laying on the ground now in a deep mood of separation, and all of the other gopis, they caught up to Radhika. And now when the gopis saw, we felt some particular pangs of separation when Krishna left. But just look at how separation manifests in the heart of this gopi, Srimati Radhika. So now all of the gopis, even the gopis which are of different groups, which even may be opposed to Radhika under normal conditions, like Chandravali's group, they all had empathy now with the mood of Radhika. It's just like, again, I'm giving a mundane example. In the material world, if any two ladies had dated the same person, there is some intrinsic rivalry and some intrinsic jealousy one to another. But if that person should break the heart of both ladies, then there is a bond of empathy between them that they've both experienced pain from this person. You understand? So now the two ladies' hearts, even though they may be rivals in some ways, becomes bound in an empathic way to each other. So now all the gopis were feeling like this towards Radhika. They all stood up together to search for Krishna. And as they began searching for Krishna, it occurred to them, if we keep searching for him, already, in order to be hidden away from public view, we've entered into a very dense area of the Vrindavan forest. So now if we try to search for Krishna, he'll have to enter into an even deeper section where there'll be many thorns, rocks, sharp trees, so many different things, and his body may become hurt. So they went back to the bank of the Jamuna, and they began to recite this prayer called Gopi Geet. The very last prayer in that Gopi Geet, Yate Sujata Charanam Burunam Staneshu, Pita Sanai Dadi Mahi Karakaseshu, Te Natavim Vyati Asti, Vyatate na King Swit, Kurpari Bhi Brahmati Bhavam Ayusam Naha. They say, listen, oh my Lord, we came to this forest to dance in Ras with you, to give you pleasure. And we wanted to take your feet, which are soft as butter, and place them on our hearts. But now we are thinking, because we continue to search for you after you decided to leave. So if you decided to leave, it must be for your own reason. But because you decided to leave, we search for you. And now we're fearing that you must be walking on sharp stones, thorns, and the beauty of those feet that we wanted to put on our hearts is being hurt and pained by those sharp stones and thorns. So we feel now, if we ask you to come back to us and take your lotus feet and place them on our hearts will be harder than the stones and thorns that you're stepping on. So this is called Kinam Tatsuke Atra Sankaya. It's one of the symptoms of the highest kind of love, called Ruda Mahabhav. Kinam means distress. Tatsuke, Tarapisuke. Even though the person who is the object of your love is experiencing great happiness. Krishna was expressing so much happiness in his heart, hearing this song of the gopis. So many beautiful prayers of them. Let's be a whole separate class to Gopi Geet. But he was experiencing so much pleasure. But when it came to this verse, it completely captured his heart in such a way, it brought him under their control. But now Krishna was saying, they're thinking that I'm unhappy. Kinam, I'm in some distress. Api suke, but I am so happy because of their love and affection for me. But the gopis, atra sankaya, they were doubting that. In other words, their love became so deep that even when the lover is happiness, you feel like they may be in distress. This is the epitome of selflessness. You understand? It's that even when your love is so strong, that even when your beloved is happy, you still feel, what can I do more? Are you sure? Are you okay? You understand? In the material world, love never rises to that point. If somebody is okay, you all right? You're a good boss. You're all right. No problem. We're good. Okay? I wish you'd make me happy like that. Anyway, this is the kind of mood that goes on in the material world. But in the spiritual world, there's selflessness. So when they recited this prayer, it was so powerful. It's called the Vasikrita Shlok. Vasikrit means it has the power to bring Krishna completely under control. So then, Smaya Manam Pakambojam. What is this? No. Smaya Manam Pakambojam Pitambara Daraswagri Sakshad Manmad Manma Tavir Bachavi Chori. As soon as Krishna heard this verse, immediately, Avir Chori, he immediately appeared again. When he appeared, he was so humbled by their love. Pitambara Daswaragri. Pitambara means like the cloth you wear on your shoulder. So he had the cloth between his hands and he was begging, I am so apologetic if I've caused you any distress by my disappearing. But I disappeared only to increase your love for me. This becomes a whole second section where they inquire why he disappeared. But I quoted all of these things to point out the nature of this verse. That the love of the gopis is so high that you have to be able to see this verse through the prism of their love, not through what's being expressed. So the hidden meaning in the verse is for any devotee who wants to love Krishna, you'll have to love Krishna in this kind of selfless mode. So Mahaprabhu as a practitioner is expressing, when will the day come when, as a sadhaka, I'm chanting your name, and the kind of love that the gopis headed by Radhika have for you, when will that come in my heart so that I can serve you with that kind of love? So everybody understand the context? So I told all of this to paint the picture. What is the nature of the love behind the expression of this verse? Because at first glance, it appears the devotees praying, when will the day come when I'll have ecstasy? You understand? And if you ask most devotees to explain the verse, they'll explain, this verse is so that when we chant and we become pure, we'll have ecstatic symptoms and we'll be free from the material world. But that misses the very point of what is bhakti. You understand? So Mahaprabhu is giving deep teaching what is bhakti here. So now I want to discuss what is called 4 kinds of mutually nourishing effects that are taking place here. So the 4 kinds of what is called paraspara. Paraspara means mutually nourishing elements are 1, as Krishna consciousness increases, naturally humility increases. So it's expressed in Brihad Bhagavatamrita of Sanatana Goswami, Hari Pokkena Dainyasya Krishna Premaja Sanvitanyate Parasparam Etan Karya Karyam Ikshate. So Paraspara means as one becomes more Krishna conscious, which systematically throughout the various verses, we are now verse number 6, it means the Krishna consciousness being expressed by the sadhaka is rising. As their Krishna consciousness arises more and more, humility becomes more and more. When the humility becomes more, it nourishes the love and creates increase in the love. You understand? So the verses are systematically from the first verse now to the 6th verse, they've been an increase in both humility and love. Love increases humility, and it goes on like that. So now it gets to the point where the love has reached the point of the description I just gave. You understand? So the way that this particular plateau of love, which is completely selfless, was revealed was because of the intensity of the feeling of humility. That feeling of humility was born from the 2nd verse where Mahaprabhu told, Durdavam Idrisam Ihajani na Anurag, that I'm unfortunate, that I have no Anurag. And therefore he recited Trenadapi Sunij. So now humility started. That humility is increasing from one verse to another, and it's increasing the praying. So now the praying is at this very high level. When praying becomes increased, it also increases the power of the mood of separation. You understand? So as humility increases and praying increases, when there is separation, the mood of the separation becomes more intense. This is another reason I describe the nature of the Leela of Gopi Geet in what the superiority of the mood of separation of Radhika was seen by all the other billions of gopis as superior. So Radhika's separation mood is the highest. Separation, on the other hand, it is mutually nourishing to meeting. Na vina vipralambena sambhog pushni ashnute. So when there is separation, that nourishes meeting. You understand? So there's one mutual expression of humility to praying, one mutual expression of separation, which comes as a result of praying, and the intensity of that separation causes meeting. The ultimate height of the potency of separation to cause meeting, it is called Vipralambika Pradurbhav. I explained this once before in another class. Vipralamba means separation, and the word ka means to make something into an action. You understand? It makes something become an action. So when Vipralamba, under the extremity of deep love, takes on the action of creating meeting, it is called Vipralambika Pradur. Pradur means intense, bhav or love. Radhika has this particular mood that when Krishna went to Mathura and then later to Dwarka, the depth of her separation was so deep. It is called Mohan Bhav. It was so deep that it caused, when she would think of Krishna, speak of Krishna, look at anything that reminded of Krishna, she would enter into such a deep mood of separation. Ruda Akyonyam Sambhoga Vipralambika, it would cause Krishna to appear there. Let me repeat it. The nature of her separation was so strong that its mutually nourishing effect was that it forced the appearance of Krishna. But this appearance was not like a vision. It's called a vision is called a sporti. A sporti is like even Narada Muni, when he was just becoming perfect, Krishna gave him a darshan. Many of those on the path of devotion think this is the height of bhakti. If Krishna will give me darshan, oh, this is the most wonderful thing. My life is successful. The darshan of Krishna is not the end-all be-all, and is not even the objective of those who are practicing in the line of Mahaprabhu. Is our objective to have darshan of Krishna? I'm asking the question now. Anybody can unmute and answer?
No.
No.
So what is our objective?
Krishna Prem.
Krishna Prem, love for Krishna, not Krishna darshan. So here it's saying that this particular mood of Radhika called Vipralambika Pradurbhav, it is not the same as an ordinary darshan or sporti of Krishna. Because even in lesser stages of love, one can have a darshan of Krishna. So here in the verse in Ujjalini Mani, it expresses, Nirbarananda Purana Paramavadi Ishate. It is the most desirable. Ishate means the most desirable because it is Nirbarananda. It means, whereas when Radha and Krishna are there meeting in Vrindavan, at that time, because of the nature of their status in the Leela, Radhika is married and Krishna is a paramour, there's some always anxiety that Krishna has to leave. I have to return to my home in Varsana or Yavat, because that's where Radhika stays. When she's married, her in-laws are in the village called Yavat. And then during certain parts of the year, she returns to her parental home in Varsana. So when Radha and Krishna are meeting, there's always the anxiety, at some point, we have to go home. In the mundane world, it's the same kind of thing that goes on in any affair. You're meeting with someone, but you're always very careful to hide. You don't want anybody to see you. And then also, you know, there's some point I have to return home. You understand? Of course, in the material world, just as this is the height of love, in reality, paramour and affairs in the material world are the most abominable thing. You understand? So it's almost the complete reverse. They're the most abominable. In the spiritual world, it's the height of love. So it says here, near Bharananda, that anxiety which arises in Braj when Radha and Krishna together, that is no longer there. Because Radhika's heart is now resigned in such a way. Krishna's gone. I don't know when he will return. She takes full shelter of the love itself. You understand? She takes full shelter of the love itself. And the love itself produces Krishna's presence near Bharananda Purana, completely and unfettered by an anxiety that he has to leave. Everybody following? So therefore it's saying, Paramavadi, go ahead and feel comfortable to fully become absorbed like this. Because this paraspara, this mutually nourishing factor of the depth of your separation producing this meeting is the highest quality. Because there's no anxiety when Krishna will leave. So then the verse says, don't think it is like the same sporty that comes to a person who gets the darshan of Krishna. Dvi viharati, dvi gune viharati, spurati anuragaje. So in all the stages of love, from anurag going down, then a sporty of Krishna is available. But what happens, like in the case of Narada Muni, when he was explaining to Vyasadeva what happened as he became perfect, he said, then the Lord appeared to me, and I became overwhelmed in joy. But then what happened? The Lord disappeared. And then Narada Muni said, I tried again and again to meditate, to make the Lord come back. And the Lord didn't come back. And then finally the Lord spoke to me and said, you should understand in this life, you will not see me again. That you have to become completely purified. So here the indication is that he was in the stage of bhav. And in the stage of bhav, there was one small koshai, means like one small element of self-interest that was left. That was the material mode of goodness. Because Narada Muni expressed he only liked to be in the forest, that he felt that the cities were too passionate, etc., etc. So Krishna told, oh, you have to even become free from this sattvika koshai, means the attachment to the mode of goodness. I did a whole class the other day on Facebook describing the pitfall of becoming too absorbed in the mode of material goodness. It will actually check bhakti. So everybody, you can listen to that class if you want. It's very important not to become attached to the mode of material goodness. I listened to a lecture this morning from my own Gurudev, and my Gurudev mentioned this is the same thing that happened to Maharaj Bharat. Maharaj Bharat had left his home, family, and given up everything to do bhajan. But then he once saw that when a deer was running away from a tiger, when the deer tried to jump over a river, a little creek, that the fawn, the baby deer, fell out from the womb. And now the deer pleaded by eyes to Bhat Muni, oh, save my child. And Bhat Muni, he got up and saved the child, but then over the course of time, he became attached and he forgot his bhajan sadhana. So Gurudev told, this is called Sattvik Doya. Doya means mercy. But this mercy was being expressed in the mode of goodness. Therefore, Bhat Muni became Sukha Sangena Bhadhati. The nature of the mode of material goodness is that it binds one to the conception of doing the right thing and being happy about it. So he became caught up in, oh, I'm taking care of this small baby deer and so forth, so on, and lost his way. So this was in Srimad Bhagavatam, a teaching for us not to become sidetracked by the mode of material goodness. You understand? It doesn't mean, and Gurudev was, it was so funny because on the tape, Gurudev says, listen, but what should happen if you see somebody and they have an accident? What should you do? So devotees were thinking, Gurudev just talked about not becoming too affected by Sattvik Doy. So one devotee said, oh yes, we should pray for them and chant, Hare Krishna. Guru said, no, that's foolishness. You should try to help them. So Guru said, no, this is foolishness. You should try to help. After you help them, get them to doctor, Try to help them in their circumstances. You should not then become attached. You understand? So he said, Satvik Doi means you become attached. Oh, how is that person? Well, after you do your duty to get them help, then you should not create more attachment. You understand? So now it's describing that the appearance of Krishna can come even in lesser stages, but when Krishna disappears, this is what I was explaining, then dvi gune viharatati, the pain of the separation doubles. So he's saying this is not the same as Radhika's mood in Mohan Bhav. In Mohan Bhav, her separation is produced near Bharananda, unfettered, purna, complete association with Krishna. Therefore, Pradur Bhavati, this Bhav is Sava Abhista, Shukha Utsavaha. It is the most desirable thing in the entire world. It is filled with the greatest festival of happiness, Shukha Utsavaha. You understand? So Mahaprabhu in this verse is praying that may that mood come about in my heart. For us as sadhakas, we are praying, may we serve that mood. You understand? May we serve that mood of Radhika. So one kind of paraspara, mutual nourishment, is humility creating more praying. One is that praying creates the mood of separation and meeting. Another one is called paraspara vasibhav. Paraspara vasibhav means the mutual exchange where love creates the control of the lover and beloved towards each other. In other words, like in the verse I recited from Gopi Geet, Krishna's love controls the gopis' hearts, but also the gopis' love expressed in that verse, Yatte Sujata Charanamburnam Saneshu, prove that the heart of the gopis and the love they have for Krishna also controls Krishna because Krishna immediately appeared. You understand? So mutually nourishing love is expressed in Ujjali Mani, paraspara vasibhav. So the love is mutually controlling. And the fourth kind of paraspara is that when love itself, because the love from the lover to the beloved is controlling, and the object of the love to the person who is the repository of love, that's controlling, then there's a separate mutual nourishment. The love itself takes control of both the lover and the beloved and mutually nourishes their mutual love for each other. You understand? If not understanding, say, everybody speak clearly. So one thing is the love between the lover and the beloved. Their love controls each other. Then there's another mutual exchange where the love itself, the instrument called love, mutually controls both of them. You understand? And in this way, the love having control of Radha and Krishna through Purnamasya Yoga Maya produces so many leelas in order for them to express their love. You understand? So now the love itself is working independently to control both of them. They each control each other by their love, but then the love itself, almost like a separate person, controls both of them. So these are four kinds of mutual paraspara, mutual elements of love. You understand? Now, we should go into the basic arrangements of how this comes about. I am not sure we'll complete everything today. I may have to some more next week, but I'm going to try. So then in the Sanmodan Bhashya of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains this high class of love that we're talking about in a sadhaka. The sadhaka, hearing these verses of Siksastakam, will have a reflection from where have I come to the point of appreciation of this kind of love. That reflection, that remembrance of where I came from to where I am now is expressed in the first verse of Siksastakam. Cheto Dapana Bhava Mahadavagni Navapanam. Bhava Mahadavagni means the forest fire of material existence. I was suffering due to the threefold miseries in material existence, in samsara, one life to another, and then Shreya Kairava Chandrika. Then the blossoming lotus of Bhav came about. Then the sadhaka will think, even before this bhav arose, what was my condition? What was the condition that brought me out of the samsara? So then in his commentary, Bhaktivinoda Thakur then begins to express how the Sadhaka reflects on the mercy of Sri Guru and how Sri Guru, by the mercy of Krishna, Pramanda Brahmati Kon Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasad, the mercy of Krishna expressed to Guru, Guru Krishna Prasade Poi, Bhakti Lata Bij, gave me the Bhakti Lata and the Bij. What is the Bij? The Bij is called Shraddha, faith. So by seeing, hearing a sadhu, the accumulation of pious activities in another life, especially those activities which were geared towards bhakti. So for instance, Srila Prabhupada had a master plan. If we get devotees doing Naga Sankirtan, distributing books, distributing prasadam, every person who comes in contact with one of those extensions of Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara, they will get Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. Unmukh Sukriti means that kind of pious activities which will help your consciousness turn towards God. So if anybody got a book, they got prasadam cookies or sweets, they saw the Harinam party, they heard the kirtan at a distance, they saw the temple, they saw the devotee, tilak, etc., that is called Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. When those Sukritis pile up and become sufficient, it becomes like a spiritual pious bank account. Then at that time, the nature of those Sukritis produce a situation or arrangement under which you come in contact with a sadhu. When you come in contact with a sadhu, then Guru Krishna Prasad becomes revealed in the form of the Bhakti Lata and the Bij. The Bij is called Shraddha. That Bij of Shraddha doesn't necessarily have to come from the same person who eventually becomes Guru for you. It simply comes from any sadhu. The sadhu then becomes an extension to Guru Tattva. Why and what is the proof of this? In the Jaiva Dharma, the very first chapter, there is a description of a personality named Sannyasi Thakur. This person had developed self-realization up to the stage of Brahman. They had renounced the entire material world, and they were tasting the happiness of Brahm Ananda, very high class of spiritual happiness. One day, they saw a Vaishnav passing by. They didn't get a chance to speak to them. They only saw that Vaishnav. But they saw that the Vaishnav, when he was walking, he was crying profusely, and he was having trouble walking. He would slip and fall, and he would get up. And when he got up, when he would dust off his arms, you would see that the hairs of his body were standing on end. So this Sannyasi Thakur recognized this is a kind of ananda or happiness that's even superior to the happiness I'm having realized Brahman. But asambhasha bhava gambira chittam. Asambhasha means I didn't speak to that Vaishnava. But asambhasha bhava gambira. I saw the depth of his love, the depth of his ananda in his chitta. I saw how deeply absorbed in the ananda he was. So this was the cause of Sannyasi Thakur seeking out Vaishnavas to understand what is this kind of incredible ananda. That is called faith. It broke his Brahmananda. And if it can break Brahmananda, what to speak of breaking attachment to the mundane, material, insignificant world? You understand this? This was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's genius. That if Sannyasi Thakur, who had realized Brahman, his attachment to Brahman was broken, asambhasha, not even speaking to a Vaishnava, hearing Harikatha, just seeing them, it broke his Brahmananda. If we will see a sadhu like that, like many people on Fifth Avenue doing Rath Yatra, millions of people would see Srila Prabhupada on the cart and then see Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. They all receive this kind of seed of faith. Then depending on their sukriti, that faith would grow. And when that faith would grow, Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha. That faith would lead them into the actual association of a Vaishnava where they could hear the Harikatha of a Vaishnava. Then that currency of faith that they acquired by the accumulation of pious credits related to bhakti, and then the actual faith coming from the actual darshan of a Vaishnava or hearing Harinam, etc. Now in the personal association of a Sadhu Vaishnava, hearing the Harikatha, they take the accumulated faith and piety and put it at the lotus feet of the Sadhu with the intent to surrender to that person as Guru. You understand? This becomes Sadhu Sangha. You understand? And then Sadhu Sangha I've explained many times. The word Sadhu means Sadnoti Sada, Sadnoti Sacha, Krishna Premiti Sadhu. Sadnoti Sadayati Cha, Krishna Premiti Sadhu. That person who has realized this kind of praying. You understand? That person is called Sadhu. Doing Sangha means to completely and absolutely take shelter of that person, both by body, mind, and mood. You understand? So by body, we follow their behavior, their achar. By mind, we follow the acceptance of everything favorable to Krishna, because the mind only does acceptance and rejection. So we do Saranagati by accepting what is favorable and rejecting what is unfavorable. By mood, we develop a mood of service towards Krishna that's in the heart of that sadhu. You understand? So doing Sadhu Sangha means this. Who is the sadhu? And then doing Samyak Rupen Anugamana. Body, mind, and moods following that sadhu completely. Right? Then Anartha Nivritti. When we follow the sadhu, Bhajana Kriya. When we follow the sadhu gives teachings on bhajan. And if we are truly surrendered to the sadhu, the teachings in bhajan will resonate in the heart in such a way they automatically, without any other endeavor, right? Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Jnanayatsu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayoit Ahoitukam. Ahoitukam without any endeavor, without any cause. Without any cause or endeavor on our part, all of the anarthas will automatically be removed. Sometimes devotees think, oh, I have to work on myself to remove my anarthas. This is the first mistake. If you had the power to remove the anarthas, you wouldn't have been in Maya in the first place. You understand? So it requires a superior power. That power comes from the sadhu's harikatha. The sadhu's harikatha then begins to remove the anarthas. The word anartha means anartha. Anartha means, artha means value. So those things which have value for producing this feeling called love of God, they are artha. Anartha means those things which act to the contrary, which detract or take away or obfuscate our ability to express that love. You understand? So anarthas are four kinds. One is called Asat Trishna. You understand? Asat Trishna also has four divisions. Attachment to enjoying things in this world, material world. The attachment to enjoying the heavenly planets. So I want you to think about this, that if you really look, that almost all the major religious traditions, the teachings that are gleaned from those traditions lead one to a mood, if I am successful, I will go to heaven or paradise and enjoy. Think about this. This is the difference between bhakti and ordinary dharma, which is why the second verse of Bhagavatam says, dharma projita kaitava. Any other kind of dharma, what does not reveal pure love, we don't want it. Because it is an anartha towards pure selfless love, because self-interest is there. So if I'm doing my worship to God, my blessing is just around the corner. Your faith should be given, including your tithes, right? Every week. And that blessing is just around the corner. And then as soon as you get that blessing, hang in there, because just like the pastor has all these material facilities, you're going to get that. And then even when you die, you're going to go back to heaven and enjoy even more. You understand? So here in Bhakti, they're saying this is anartha. This is not valuable. So what is considered valuable in regular Dharma is completely the opposite. Yes, it's called prosperity gospel. Exactly. So this is exactly the opposite in Bhakti. So enjoyment in this world or in the heavenly planets, all the desire that comes from Yoga Siddhi, the powers that come in Yoga Siddhi is also an anartha. And also lastly, for those who want pure love, the idea of liberation, either in Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, Sarsti, meaning all liberation in relation to Sri Narayan, or even Sayuja Mukti, Brahman, right? All are rejected. You understand? All are rejected as being anarthas. Another kind of anartha is called Swarup Brahm. Swarup Brahm means illusion or misconception. To have misconceptions about what is the soul, to have misconceptions about what is Bhagavan, to have misconceptions about what is the material energy of Bhagavan, Maya. And lastly, to have misconceptions about what is the process and the goal of devotional service. So these are 4 kinds of anarthas called Swarup Brahm. Then there's another one which is called aparad. Aparad, you know what it is, but here aparad in the anarthas means aparad towards Krishna, aparads towards the deity of Krishna, aparads towards Krishna Seva, and aparads towards any jiva. The jivas come in different categories, however. Ordinary jivas who are not dharmic, those jivas who are religious, those who are in the practice of bhakti, and those who are accomplished in bhakti. The grade of the aparad or severity of the aparad is according to the nature of the jiva themselves. So these are 4 kinds of anarthas in the category of aparad. Then there's Hridoya Dubalyam. Hridoya Dubalyam is also of 4 kinds. One is Tuch Ashokti. It means maintaining an attachment to insignificant things. It means even while you're chanting Harinam, you keep attachment to the conceptions of the material world. So this is an anartha. You understand? Also, Kutanati. Kutanati means, ku means bad. Nati means like bad behavior. Kutanati means duplicitous activity. So duplicity also comes here. So Kutanati. Also, Matsarya or envy. The third one is Matsarya, meaning being envious. As long as you have self-interest, envy will be there. It'll be passive or it could be aggressive, but envy is there as long as we maintain self-interest in this material world. And the last one is called Labdha, Puja, and Pratishta. The desire to be wealthy, famous, get worship, etc. Right? In Guru Abhiman, this will come also in Bhakti. Have so many disciples, everybody, Guru, 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 right? And if you're not mature, you have no taste in Bhakti yet, then the pleasure coming from all of the worship and adoration, gifts and everything else, it will become an anartha. You understand? So these are 4 kinds of 4 anartha. These are removed by hearing about bhajan and by practicing what you hear. So bhajan instruction is of 2 types. The agyai means the order given by Gurudev to practice. The second is the siksha given by Gurudev. So by Guru Sadhu, you receive siksha and agyai. Agyai means the order. Wake up in the morning, chant a fixed number of rounds, etc., etc. The siksha is what is the glory of what you're doing. So all of the Harikatha that discusses that. Now, when you do those things, it invokes the Kriya Shakti. It means the compassion and the potency coming in parampara all the way from Radharani herself, and it removes the anarthas for you. Does everybody understand this point? That power removes the anarthas. You become a witness to that power. This makes your, again, reciprocation with bhakti grow, because you then witness how merciful is Guru, how merciful is Srimati Radharani. All of my bad habits from so many years ago, those things have gone. All of my bad habits of intoxication, lust, this thing, that thing, greed, avarice, all these things, they're gradually going away. Not by my power, by the power of bhakti. So then from the position of like a witness, you fold your hands and you begin saying so many prayers, glorifying Guru, glorifying Mahaprabhu, glorifying Radha Krishna. glorifying especially Srimati Radharani. You understand? Because now you're witnessing the glory of bhakti. This is the first darshan of bhakti, the power of bhakti in your own life. So you look back as a reflection, like I mentioned earlier, and you see, where have I come from? So I told many times, Bhumi Pati Prabhu, other devotees have mentioned it's also happened with them. Sometime when I've gotten ready to do Harikatha, and if I will speak any verse, which is especially sometimes very high class of verse, in the mood of Radhika, and in the mood of Manjari Bhav, anything, my heart will become overwhelmed thinking, you were playing basketball in Brooklyn so many years ago. You understand? All kind of nonsense you were doing so many years ago. How are you sitting here now and you're speaking about Radharani? So that wells up in the heart, oh, how merciful is Sādhu Guru Mahaprabhu, and so forth, so on. You understand? So this becomes another mutual nourishing factor. Where have I come from? What is the glory of Bhakti producing? Where I'm aspiring and where I'm going now. Everybody understand this point? So now, Bhajana Kriya Nartha Nivritti, so now the chitta becomes placid. It means it becomes undisturbed by the influence of your previous material impressions. That is called Nishta. Now what happens after Nishta? All the Harikatha you hear, the sweetness and the beauty that's inside of that Harikatha, and the beauty and sweetness, which is all in Nam, because the Nam, the Maha Mantra, contains all of these things. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is all of the Harikatha of Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the Harikatha you have sadhus. That is the personality or swarup of Harinam. So now while you're chanting Harinam, the taste in the Nam, in the Harikatha, in the practice, it all comes to you. This is called Ruchi. You understand? This is called Ruchi. When that Ruchi becomes very intensified, because now there's another mutually nourishing factor. Saha eva bhajan ruchi vishai. Because now you've developed so much ruchi in the bhajan practice. It's your first object of taste. Oh, chanting is so sweet now. Hearing Harikatha is so wonderful. Doing my practice is so wonderful. You become so enlivened and so inspired by the practice. Now that becomes intensified. Para atma proda, sayati eva, bhajaniya, bhagavan karoti tadayam ashaktis akyayayate. That ruchi turns into a shakti. It means an unquenchable thirst for the object of your aspiration. Bhajaniya means now the same intensity grows. I've been practicing bhakti to love Krishna. So now the object not only becomes the practice to love Krishna, but the object of the practice itself. So now your love for Krishna becomes intensified and it becomes a Shakti. A Shakti is a state in which you think, if I do not obtain love of Krishna, I will die. In this verse, Nayanam Galarasru Dharaya, Mahaprabhu is expressing this. When will that day come? Kada. When I will have this kind of love. This is also an expression of a Shakti. Similarly, in the Guru Ashtakam that we sing every morning, what is this verse? Shri Radhikaya Madhavyara Para Madhujjalila Gunarupananam Pratikshana. Pratikshan means that every kshana means like a fraction of a second. At every fraction of a second, there's such intensity for the Madhurya Lila of Radha and Madhav. Shri Radhikaya Madhavya Apara. Apara means their transcendental love and affection. Shri Radhikaya Madhavya Apara, Madhurya Lila. Their Madhurya Lila. Gun, the root, and the nam of that Madhurya Lila. You understand? Pratikshana, at every second. Dana lolupash. Lolupash means I'm desiring it in such an intense way, the service of it. You understand? So here, this is the mood called a Shakti. An amazing thing happens in the stage of a Shakti. When you come to that stage, Shri Guru and Guru Parampara axiomatically or automatically look upon the heart of that devotee, which is shimmering with aspiration. to obtain the kind of love that they've aspired for, that they have ruchi for. Their mercy shines down and becomes like an abbas, a shadow of their own love, and comes onto the chitta of the aspirant. You understand? This is expressed by Jiva Goswami. Tasya tadrasa sudha karaka abbas samulasita hridaya spatikamani. The heart is in a position now like a crystal. So when the reflection of the eternal associate in whose mood you want to serve, the connection takes place, and a ray of their mood comes onto the chitta as a shadow, as an abbas of their mood. You understand? Therefore, Shravanadi Shrutashu, Paripattishu Opi Ruchi Jayate. Their mood now upsurges in your heart even more. And it puts you in a position that now Bhagavan, Shrimati Radhika, they look and say, we have to save the life of that devotee. We have to save them. They cannot tolerate it anymore. At that time, Radhika says, give my mercy to that devotee. She rains down just a drop of her mercy, like a ray coming from the sun. It becomes Sudha Sattva Viseshatma, Prema Suyangsa Samyabha, Ruchi Bish Chitta Masrinya Kridasoba Uchite. When she rains down that mercy, it touches the chitta. At that time, Ruchi Bish Chitta Masrinya, the taste that you've had that has now become infused with the internal energy, Swarup Shakti, melts the false egoism away. It melts it by the intensity of your love and desire. It melts away. At that time, Avibuya Manovito, Frajayate Tatsarupatam, Swayam Prakasha Rupopi Bashaman Prakashavat. At that time, Avibuyo Manobrito, the Swarup Shakti itself takes over your chitta. Just like the three modes of material nature were controlling you earlier. You understand? Now Swarup Shakti takes over the chitta. Vrajayate Tatswarupatam. Swayam Prakash. The functions of love that you desire to have start to act through your chitta. You understand? But in your mind, you're thinking it's coming from me. Bashamana Prakashavat. You understand? Bashaman means Krishna's giving you the feeling, yes, I'm having this feeling. But the actual thing is coming from Swarup Shakti. It's taken over your chitta and is guiding you. You understand? This stage is called Bhav. You understand? So I think I will end here and take some questions because there might be a lot. There was a lot to digest. Starting at the beginning of next week, before we go into verse 7, I'll describe the symptoms of Bhav, the internal meaning according to the mood of Radhika of this shlok, and then we'll be going to the next shlok, Yugayatam Namishena, right? Which will speak about the depth of separation mood, which I covered somewhat in the beginning today, but in more depth beginning next week. So we're open for questions here.
Dandavad Prabhuji.
Dandavad Shamji.
Prabhuji, yeah, I've heard Gurudev speaking on this topic also, and he refers to Koti when he's speaking. Do you know what that means?
What is the word?
It's like it sounds like when he's speaking Koti, like almost like it will be spelled Corie or Cori, Koti.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Koti. Koti means an action, something being done. Like it's kata would be the root word, to do something. So koti, when somebody is doing something, right? That's called like it's an action. Yeah, like doing. Like kripa koti koro. Somebody put in the chat. Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Haribo.
Haribo, Vrindanandan, Ganga.
That was Leslie, actually.
Oh, hold on, because somebody had their hand up.
Oh, okay.
All right, since you're unmuted, go ahead, then I'll come for Vrindanandan and Ganga right after. Go ahead, Lalita.
My apologies. So doing something would be like chanting Harinam.
Yes, yeah, but I think he was just looking for the definition of the word kori. Kori comes from the word kara, means to do something, or kartata, means doing, being the doer. So in this case,
I see.
in this case, Swarup Shakti is the doer, or the modes of nature of the doer for the jiva. The Bada jiva is never the doer. But kartata is awarded to the jiva in the spiritual world by Swarup Shakti. But they're not inherently the doer. In Bhagavad Gita, that's expressed Prakriti Kriyamanani Gunai Kamani Savasha. Aham kara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Manyate means you think. Kartata, I'm the doer. But actuality, everything is being done by the three modes of material nature for the Bada Jiva. The Bada Jiva is only having a desire. And then the super soul sanctions, okay, this is what you want to do. I'm telling you, not a good idea. You do it. The modes of material nature act that out. And then vicariously, the Atma, it goes through the experience of it. In the spiritual sense, the verse I quoted, Avibhuya manovrito vrajayate tat swarupatam. Swayam prakasha rupopi bhashamana prakashavat. When Swarup Shakti descends, in the first verse, Sudha Sattva Viseshatma, 2 or 3 verses later, it explains, Avibhuya manovrito. That Swarup Shakti descends onto your consciousness, and Vrajayate tat swarupatam. It takes over the consciousness, like the modes were doing when you were conditioned. So now the internal energy is guiding you how to serve Krishna. Your aspiration has become one with, and your identity has become one with a mood of service. So now the internal energy is your guide. But Basamana Prakashavat, you feel that the impetus of everything is coming from me. So it's not like we're being like puppets or robots. The experience is, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. But the actual impetus and the power is coming from Swarup Shakti. Hi, Bo, Virginia Nanda Ganga.
Reading here, we're speaking about Lalita. Lalita's bhav is Vaisuta Kahandita. Could you, am I pronouncing that correctly?
What is the bhav of Lalita Sakhi?
Yes, it's called, it says her bhav is Vaisuta Kandita. Could you explain that a little bit?
Kandita. Kandita means like when there is an expression of anger. So Vaishika Kandita means by her anger, she helps to bring Krishna under control of Radhika. Is it? Ka means, the prefix ka in Sanskrit means an action that creates something. So her Kandita bhav creates Vasi, means control of Krishna. Because she's 27 days older than Radhika, so she has the power to speak where Radhika may be a little shy. Like, I'm giving an example. If you have 2 teenage girls together, one is 17, 18, maybe like the older sister. And the young boy is coming and so the old sister said, don't smile at him. Turn your face away. You understand? And then the boy says, hey, excuse me, can I meet you? The old sister may say, who are you? You understand? What's your name? Why you want to talk to her? You understand? The young girl wants it to happen. Even the older sister wants it to happen. But the older sister, being more experienced in the dealings of love, she controls the environment by her ability to be more kandit, means more forceful, more forthcoming. Understand?
Yes, yes.
It's called Kandita Vaisika.
Jai. Thank you.
And Kandita also represents one of 8 kinds of moods of Radhika. In Chaitanya Charitamrita is mentioned, Radhika, her Astasakhi means Vishaka, Lalita, Chitra, Chambakalata, Sudevi, Rangadevi, Tungavidya. They each personify a particular mood of Radhika. There are 8 moods of Radhika. One is called Abhisarika, Vasak Sajja, Utkantita, Kandita, Kalahandrita, Vipralabhita, Prasido Bhatrika, and Swadhina Bhatrika. These are 4 kinds of mental moods of Radhika. Understand? Those 8 moods are personified in each of the individual Astasakhi. Abhisarika means when Radhika goes out to meet Krishna. You understand? Vasak Sajja means when she decorates herself or when she decorates the area where they'll meet.
Yes.
Huh? And then Utkantita. Ut means to raise your head. Kantita means neck. So when you go like this, is Krishna coming? Is he coming? It means eagerness. You understand?
Yeah.
And then Kandita means, let me see, I don't want to mix them up. Kandita means if there is some, he's not coming, so forth, so on, there's some expression of anger. I'll correct this if it's not correct. I believe this is it. Then there is Vipralabdita. Krishna has not shown up, or he comes very early in the morning, even though they're supposed to meet at night, right? So Radhika expresses anger towards Krishna, but then she feels remorse. Kalahandrita means after having expressed your anger, now you're feeling some remorse. Oh, why did I do that? You understand? He at least came. You understand? And Krishna will always give some excuse. He missed the train. His Uber didn't come, whatever it might be. You understand?
Yeah.
So that time, Radhika will become some feeling sorry he tried. You understand? And then the other mode is Kalahandrita, Prasita Bhatrika. Prasita Bhatrika mood is when Radhika has now been separated Krishna when he goes to Mathura and to Dwarka. That mood is called Prasita Bhatrika. You understand? Then the mood called Swadhin Bhatrika means when this is the ideal mood for us. So our Srila Prabhupada, when he would begin Srimad Bhagavatam, he would give Udipan to himself, means stimulate his heart for speaking. He would sing Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari. May I bear witness that Radhika will become victorious, Jai, over Krishna in their Kunj Vihar, in their meeting in the Kunj. At that time, when Radhika is victorious over Krishna, that mood of Radhika is called Swadhina Bhatrika Naika. Swadhin means, Swa means yourself, Deen means to bring someone under your control. So she brings Krishna under her control. You understand? To bring Bhatrika is like a husband, but it means lover here. Swadhina Bhatrika Naika means to bring that person under your control. You understand? At that time, Krishna becomes Anukul Dhira Lalit Nayak. So when you see Krishna on the altar standing in threefold bending form with his head tilted, this posture is the representation of Anukul Dhira Lalit Nayak. Radhika standing on the altar, she has one hand up like this, giving blessing. The blessing we normally interpret is giving us blessing for service. But the inner meaning, she's giving blessing to Krishna. Yes, you can come and serve me.
That's sweet.
And which one identifies with a Lalita of the 8 different moods?
I think Kandita, because that's what was mentioned.
I think, yeah.
Dita.
Kandita.
Oh, Jai, thank you.
Yeah, I have to remember which Saki is affiliated with what. One Saki is affiliated with Abhisar, one is affiliated with Utkant, etc.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Yes, I explained it, sweetie. Any other question? We should think, by the mercy of our Guru Vargas, our Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Parapadma, our Guru Vargas, we're very fortunate to hear all these things. You understand? This is what Mahaprabhu came to give. If all the books of our Goswamis I'm quoting, Ujjwal Nemani, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, you understand? Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, all the writings of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhakti Sandarbha, and all the Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami, they wanted us to learn these things. Everything that we're talking about, you can find it in the books of Srila Prabhupada. Every single thing. If you look carefully in Srila Prabhupada, every single thing is there. So now it's just a matter of bringing out these teachings in such a way devotees could benefit by it, their practice can be nourished by it, and people can actually see their advancement taking place. People are more worried about what hangups they have, what still drawbacks they have, and they're always in this fight with, yeah, but I still have attachment to this, I still have attachment to that. Srimad Bhagavatam is making a clear statement. Vikridam Rajavadu Biridam cha Vishnu, Charanvito Anushunu Yadvana Yadyaha, Bhakti Param Pratilabhya Kamam Ridrogamasu Acharena Dira. If you hear Vikridam means Vishesh Prida. Here it means the intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna like Ras Lila. Vikridam Rajavadu Bir. If you hear the nature of these pastimes, like Ras Leela, between Radha and Krishna and the gopis, then idam cha Vishnu, while having understood that Krishna's Bhagavan. You understand? This is a secret. Knowing that this is God, so this is not something applicable to you. It's not applicable to demigods. This, what you're hearing, is Visesh only to Krishna, who himself is the origin of everything, Vishnu. You understand? Having understood that, Shradanvito Anusranu, then with faith, you should hear from those who have the ultimate faith. That means those who have realized faith. Anu, hear it continuously while following their behavior, meaning practicing bhakti, and Anuttva, being humble. If you will hear these things, in this category, Vana means in this category, then Bhakti Param Pratilabhya, that pure bhakti, that kind of love, Prapti means you will obtain it. But then there's an amazing statement, Rid Rogam. Even if the heart still has vestiges of lust, anger, greed, this, that, it still will come because bhakti is independent. Bhakti is not dependent on you. Bhaktya sanjatya bhaktya. Bhakti comes from bhakti. It doesn't come from you. So then bhakti descends, and very quickly. Acharena dira. Acharena means not after a long time. It purifies, like I mentioned earlier in Bhajana Kriya. It purifies us of those things and establishes itself. In other words, I'm giving an example. If Maya has you under full control, so much control, Maya Devi's personally walking with you. Come here, boy. Come here. Sit down. Do this. Maya is directly controlling you. But then Radharani and Krishna walk in the room. What will Maya do? Oh, my Prabhu is here. Oh, my Prabhu is here. Yes, Prabhu, what do you want me to do? And then Radha and Krishna say, leave him. That's my devotee. She's my devotee. You should go. You can help them serve me. Maya, what will she say? Immediately. So we're not praying to get rid of Maya. We're praying to get Krishna. You understand? There's a difference. So you should hear Harikatha about what makes Krishna happy. If you go to Krishna, keep telling him, I'm suffering in the material world. Maya's beating me up. I can't even serve you because of Maya. You're actually telling Krishna Maya's stronger than him. That's what you're doing.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Vrishabhanunandini Radhe Radhe Vrishabhanunandini Radhe Radhe निताय गौर हरि बो, हरि बो, हरि बो, गौर हरि बो। जय जय गुरुदेव, 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 जय गुरुदेव, जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय प्रभुपाद।